Former New York Knicks general manager Scott Perry just said that he believes the New York Knicks should trade for a star wing to slide RJ Barrett back to the 2 guard, and we have to talk about this. So welcome back to Knicks Digest, guys. My name is Chris, and we did not record a video yesterday, so happy Thanksgiving to all our American followers. I hope you had a wonderful day with your family, but now we are going to jump right into things as we always do. So here we go. Scott Perry just suggested that he thinks that he would be looking to acquire a player that can push RJ Barrett to the shooting guard position, a player that can create off the dribble, basically suggesting that the next trade would take the Knicks over the top, should be a wing. I agree. 100% I agree. I agree. Look, guys, look at it this way. I know some people don't like Julius Randle. Some people love Julius Randle. Some people hate Julius Randle. No matter what your stance is on Julius Randle, here's the deal. He's probably not getting traded off the New York Knicks. It's hard to believe that. Jalen Brunson is the best player on the New York Knicks. He's not getting moved. Maybe the Knicks will trade for Joel Embiid, and that'll be an upgrade over Mitchell Robinson. However, Mitch is having his best season in the NBA, and he's on a very cheap contract, and Joel Embiid is 29 years old, and trading for Joel Embiid would essentially say that the Knicks believe that they could beat the Boston Celtics or the Milwaukee Bucks this year or next season whenever they were to trade for Joel, and I'm not sure if I believe that. Embiid has had a rough time staying healthy throughout the playoffs, and also him and the 76ers have consistently lost to the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are now the best they've ever been, and most of those 76ers teams were better than these New York Knicks teams. However, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Joel Embiid and the New York Knicks could maybe beat the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks and go on to the NBA Finals. It's certainly possible, but I would say that's unlikely. Jalen Brunson is the Knicks point guard of the future. As I said, as of right now, he is the best player on the team. I do not expect him to be the best player in a Knicks championship team. I think that is very much wishful thinking. However, I do think he could be the second best player on a championship team, especially one that has the good version of Julius Randle, who we've been seeing in recent games. It seems like Randle is back to being the good player that he usually is, and that means that the Knicks, they should look for a wing. Now, here's the thing. I love Quentin Grimes. I'm not too concerned by this one game that he played really poorly against the Minnesota Timberwolves that now we've sort of had to sit on because there's been the Thanksgiving break. But at the end of the day, Troy and I talked about this a few months back. You got to give up some of the young players to get someone back. And that is what Troy said, not me. He was arguing on trading Quentin Grimes. And just a little callback to Troy, shout out him and the Knicks recap. That's always my guy. Really, what's going on here is that the Knicks should look to trade Quentin Grimes, maybe to upgrade a player at that wing position, or trade Emmanuel Quickley because that contract is running out. However, as I've said before, I do play NBA 2K with Quickley sometimes, and I do not want to see the Knicks move him. That's my guy. Shout out Matty. But really, I think the Knicks, if they want to keep RJ Barrett, which is going to be pretty hard to not keep him considering they have the protection going with his pick. I'm sorry, my brain is really scrambled. It's been a hectic day in my life, guys. Just full disclosure. So I'm sort of all over the place. But essentially, RJ Barrett has that poison pill contract, and it's hard to trade him. And then Julius Randle, the Knicks love. Jalen Brunson is CAA, his dad coaches, and also he is just the best player on the Knicks. That leaves Quentin Grimes. That leaves Evan Fournier's contract. That leaves Emmanuel Quickley. Those are the guys who I think we would see getting traded. Maybe Mitchell Robinson in a trade for Joel Embiid, but I just don't see the Knicks trading for Embiid. Tyrese Maxey is balling out. He's averaging, I believe, 28 points per game right now. He's playing like a monster. He's clearly an all-star. Casey and I debated this once. She was absolutely right. I was all the way wrong. Tyrese Maxey is that good. And he can be that guy next to Joel Embiid. Can he be the second best player on a championship team? I think it's too early to tell. But he's playing like he might be able to right now, and I do believe that Joel Embiid can be the best player on a championship team. And that 76ers team is deep. I don't think they would trade Joel, and if they did, they wouldn't trade him to the Knicks. The last guy that leaves is my favorite idea, which is to trade for Zion Williamson, because I do think the Knicks are better trying to compete a few years down the line instead of right now because of everyone trying to contend right now with there being not one clear contender like there was with the Golden State Warriors and then the Cleveland Cavaliers as the secondary team, with each of them being on their own tiers and then everyone else below them and everyone knowing that it was going to be a Cavs-Warriors NBA Finals for a few straight years. Now there isn't that. The Warriors have been depleted. They have a losing record as of today, and people are seeing other teams win the finals consistently. No one's going back-to-back. No one has gone back-to-back since 2018. Now, the NBA Finals has been shifting around. A lot of teams have been good. A lot of teams have been bad. And everyone's trying to push right now while there's just not one clear-cut contender. And I think the New York Knicks should not jump in on that. There's too many teams that have too many advantages. And the New York Knicks' best players are not going to be at their peaks right now. Aside from Julius, he's probably at his peak right now. But Brunson, I assume, is not at his best. I think there is another level for him to get to. RJ, there certainly is. And then all the young guys, yes to that also. But if the Knicks are going to make a trade, which they should soon because they have all this amount of assets and picks, they have the second most draft capital in the NBA outside of the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are in position to make some sort of move. And if they are to trade for a star, I would like it to be a wing also. Move RJ to that shooting guard slot. Use Grimes as trade bait. Use all those picks. And then get a wing, someone who can create off the dribble. And unfortunately, it doesn't feel like there's one of those guys who's even sort of available right now. I think the guys, the most likely NBA stars who you would see get traded, who are like elite talents, especially if this pertains to the New York Knicks, are Donovan Mitchell, who is a wing, but he's a shooting guard. He is not. He's a combo guard. He's not a wing. That's my fault. Then you get Joel Embiid, maybe, but I don't really see that happening. Zion Williamson, maybe, but I don't really see that happening. The Mavericks are too good for Luka to want to request a trade. There really isn't a clear-cut guy. I think the star, and I'm using star sort of lightly, he's certainly an all-star, but he's not some superstar championship winner, is Zach LaVine. And we know that the Knicks are not going to trade for Zach LaVine. We've been over this. He is a Clutch Sports client. He would prefer to not go to the Knicks. Clutch Sports prefers if none of their clients play for the New York Knicks because the New York Knicks are a CAA-backed franchise with Leon Rose at the helm. And they are at war. Not like an angry war, but, they're the two biggest operations in sports when it comes to being agencies. And it makes you rivals inherently. So that's just what it is there. So I don't think we would see Zach LaVine. And also, if you ask Scott Perry, he doesn't really want to see Zach LaVine. But also, if you look right here, just to go in depth on what he was saying, is that he thinks the Knicks need someone who can create more offense off the dribble for themselves and their teammates. Some size, some defensive versatility. To him, that would allow you to push a guy like RJ down to the two-guard position where he's big every night against his opponents, and you move further in the season, especially when you get to the playoffs. It becomes such a matchup game. So it allows the team, according to Scott Perry, looking for a player that will allow him to play a little bit bigger, but still not sacrificing any athleticism, since RJ is a tremendous athlete. When teams decide to go small, that size and length does matter, especially when it gets to the playoffs. And Scott thinks that it could also be very helpful, too, for a guy like Jalen Brunson. Now you got bigger people at the 2 and 3. To go with Julius and Mitch, then you could see what you have. I really don't disagree again. I think RJ and Brunson would work well together in the backcourt. I've said it before. As far as role players go, Quentin Grimes is a pretty perfect guy for Jalen Brunson. But it would give the Knicks a huge size disadvantage. It would make them a big team. And they'd be skilled for a team that's big. It's sort of like the Minnesota Timberwolves, who we just saw the Knicks play. They got a lot of skilled guys, and they run big. They have Edwards at the 2. He's a giant 6'5" also. You have Jaden McDaniels, who's big. You have Karl Anthony Towns, who's nearly 7 feet tall at the power forward. They're a skilled big team, and I think that's sort of what Scott Perry's sort of thinking is the Knicks should sort of take that path. The way RJ's defense has looked this season has made it apparent that he could guard the best player on an opposing team. And that's important because what Scott's saying is he wants the Knicks to go get someone who plays offense. And I agree. The Knicks still don't have enough shot creation. They have shot creation in Jalen Brunson, and that's about it. I, for a while, said I'm not a big fan of Julius Randle's shot creation. I think he should be more of a point forward. And we've seen that more this year. Julius has been very fluid since he's come back and been healthy. And it's working really well. And I hope he doesn't get too much into the shot creation thing. But the Knicks do need someone else who can create their own shot outside of Jalen Brunson. They're still lacking in that area. And if you double team Brunson, you're going to see some issues. So I do think the Knicks should go out and do that. I think Scott Perry's correct, but I don't think it should be Zach LaVine, and neither does Scott Perry. Because he said, no question that Zach LaVine can score the basketball, but does he impact winning? Zach LaVine has been to one playoff series in 9 years. He's played a total of four playoff basketball games. You're looking at $40 million, $43, $46, and $49 million for a guy who to this point has not impacted winning to the level that his money says he should impact. Scott's correct. Also, again, the Knicks, Zach LaVine, it would not end well. It wouldn't even start well because this Clutch Sports thing. things would get messy. He'd probably leave. The Knicks would lose a bunch of assets. The Bulls value LaVine higher than the Knicks would ever value LaVine, meaning this trade would not even happen. The Bulls would certainly ask for RJ Barrett. The Knicks would certainly say no, and then trade talks would just kind of end. And that's sort of what's going to happen with this video. It's just going to sort of end. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. Who do you think the Knicks should go for? Let me know down below. I love reading your guys' comments. Some of them are really hating on me. Some of them are love. It's all love on my end, though. Thank you so much for watching. If you support this channel at all, you don't even know how much it means to me. I'm very thankful for you guys on this belated Thanksgiving. But, guys, have a tremendous day. Look at the hat. Go Knicks.